So I have been playing in Midjourney, one of the AI image creation tools, for probably about 6 to 8 months now. And whenever I play in Midjourney, I like to create stuff that's kind of otherworldly. I'm like, this is my opportunity to step into kind of fantasy land, create stuff that I can't create with just a camera, and do things like creatures that don't exist or creating geodesic domes out in forests, like really creating these crazy, amazing worlds. And it's been so much fun to do that over the last 6 to 8 months. And for some reason, last night, I decided I wanted to see what the algorithm would produce if I just did something super simple, because I've been doing everything with like complicated prompts. And so I was like, let's just see how it illustrates a rich American versus a poor American. I think we're all kind of feeling the financial pinch right now, and we all have a little bit of, or the 99% of us at least, have a bit of animosity about how the economy is right now. So I was like, let's just see how the algorithm portrays a rich American versus a poor American. And so if you don't know Midjourney, it produces four images per prompt, and then you choose one of those images you want to upscale, or you can upscale them all. And the results were fascinating because not only was it that the rich Americans obviously have these lavish lifestyles, and one of them portrayed a man with angel wings, like he's beyond human at that point. He's, a godly creature because he's rich. But I also noticed that all of them were men. So all four of the poor Americans were men, and all four of the rich Americans were men. And I was like, that's odd. It's interesting. So then I went down the rabbit hole of like, okay, well, how does it portray a photographer? Since I'm a photographer, this is how it portrays a photographer. All four, again, men. And then I was like, okay, well, how does it portray a painter? Because I associate creativity in my mind with femininity. So I was thinking like a painter, well, that's a very feminine, because women are, you're creating life. I always assume creativity is a very feminine trait. And so it was three men and one woman. So then I was like, okay, well, how does it portray a chef? How does it portray a veterinarian? Because I always thought if I wasn't going to be a photographer, I'd be a veterinarian. All four of them were men. And so I went through and did 15 different careers. And of the 15 different careers, it created 60 images, and 51 of those images were men. 8 of those images were women, and one was a skeleton, like a death skeleton, which was for a doctor. I thought that was interesting. And I was like, oh, it's essentially the algorithm is saying that 15% of the workforce is women, approximately. I don't know, you could do the math on that. And 85% of the workforce, again, approximately, is men. And then you can, of course, go into that even further with like how it's breaking down different ethnicities and stuff like that. And it really highlighted for me that with AI, it's not that the AI is biased, it's that the AI is scraping data from all across the internet, or that's being fed to these particular algorithms, and it's simply spitting back to me what has been fed to it. So there's nothing inherently wrong with the algorithm per se. I think it's highlighting what we have on the internet, like what we're feeding to each other. And I feel like never before have we had a tool where we can type in one sentence and be like, okay, of all of the media across all of the internet, what does a chef look like? What does a film director look like? What does a teacher look like? And have it immediately tell you the majority of imagery out in the world says this is what a teacher looks like. And I feel like this is such a great opportunity for us to work with these algorithms to gain an understanding of what kind of visual media we're putting out into the world, and to be cognizant of the fact that this is what we're teaching these algorithms, because the algorithms, we're currently teaching them and feeding them information, but down the road, these algorithms are going to be teaching the next generation. So we're teaching the algorithms what to think a photographer is, what to think a teacher is, what to think a veterinarian is. And then with all of that information, eventually school and information is going to come from the algorithm itself. And so now, since it's like the algorithms are like little babies and they're just learning everything right now, and it just highlighted for me that this is a great opportunity to very, very quickly see what the majority of visual information is that's out in the world, and B, it's an opportunity for us to really think, okay, how do we want the algorithm to see a photographer? How do we want the algorithm to see what a farmer or a car mechanic or a bus driver looks like? Now that I know that it sees all photographers as looking like this, like a man, well, I might be like, okay, I'm going to take a picture of myself with a camera, put that in the algorithm and say, photographer. We're in such an interesting time right now because it's still in a learning and development phase. And so instead of being upset that maybe the algorithm has a bias towards seeing professions as being male dominated, instead it's I'm seeing it as this is an opportunity for us to really think about how we want the algorithms to see the world, and to start feeding it the information that is in alignment with our values and how we see the world. So if you have some time, play around with them. You can type anything in there, like, what does the average American home look like? What does what does the average American city look like? What does the average American look like? What does the average cat look like? Anything like that. And you can just quickly see that this is what the algorithm is trained to see as that particular thing that you ask it about. And then take that opportunity to feed it more information that's in alignment with, your views, and maybe balance some things out a little bit. So yeah, I'm gonna go through now that I'm done with my spiel on what I think about this. I'm gonna go through and play for you all of the images that it created based on each career. So here you go.